Okay, that tells us we're recording. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Hally Hardy. I'm the CEO team leader for Keller Williams Coastal, and I'm kicking off your Happy Friday today with some wonderful guests of mine. Such a treasure. And when you guys get to hear their story, you're going to see why this is so impactful. But the fact that they're together in one screen is phenomenal. I was just talking to them about that a minute ago. But anyways, without any further ado or introduction, the Heidi and Leslie team. Thank you guys both so much for being my guests. Right. So before we get started, why don't you introduce yourselves a little bit? Tell us a little bit about your business and your journey, kind of to get together, to introduce who you are.
You go first. You go first. I'm Heidi Bailey, and we are the Heidi and Leslie team. We have been a team now for a little over 2 years. We've been with Keller Williams Coastal Properties almost 2 years. I think December-ish is when we joined the team over there. We have worked together like almost 4 years, I think. Um, I was running a team at a small boutique brokerage in Irvine, and Leslie joined the team as a brand new agent, like 2 weeks old. And I got to help groom her and mentor her. And then I went to a different brokerage and she followed along. I actually kind of lured her a little bit. And we joined a team there, and it was a really great experience. And during that experience, we found out that we wanted different things than the team had to offer. And so we decided we had already started door knocking. We had thought, let's just try door knocking. We did a little bit of it at the other team as well. And we thought this is something that we want to do together. And then we figured out, well, how are we going to do the splits? We're on a team. Now we're door knocking together. And so we thought, let's try this. Let's like see. And it just happened organically that we became a team. And so we just decided to form our own team, leave that team. And at the time we were with EXP and stayed with EXP and went, another great brokerage, but they didn't have what we needed. And we need that family. We need that camaraderie. We need to feel a part of, like, this stuff wasn't really happening for us,
Mhm.
being, having all of these great um, meetings and trainings and being live in store, I mean not in store, live in the office together. We just didn't have any of that. And so we had a few other people that had been on our team earlier that had come over to Keller Williams. And so we thought, yeah, let's try it. Let's see what it's about. And we love you guys, by the way. Like, this is part of our story. Today we're going to talk about like not leaving before the miracle happens. Like, this is a big deal to me. At one point, I was going to quit, like about a year into my time in real estate. I had a full-on breakdown. I cried to my mom. I said, I can't do this. I had 3 deals that fell apart all at once. And I thought, oh, I'm just not gonna, I just can't do this. And I have a really good friend who is a real estate agent as well. And I called her and she said, you need to read The Dip. And if you haven't read The Dip, it's a great book. It's by Seth Goodian. And it talks about like when you're in that dip, what that is and why it is and how it is and what you can do. Instead of quitting all of real estate, maybe you just need to quit some things and embrace others
Mm.
and not run yet, not leave before the miracle. And so, anyways, I read that book like within 2 days of talking to her, and within a week, I was back in the game. And within 3 or 4 months, I had 4 deals go through. So it definitely hit me. So, anyways, so yeah, so we started working with you guys, and we've doubled our business, actually, yeah, doubled our business in the last 2 years, our transactions especially. Last year we did about 10, and this year we've done 20 so far, and we still have two to
Amazing.
go. So yeah, we it's been a good couple of years, and I think I'm doing all the talking, so I'm gonna let Leslie talk now.
I think the only thing really that we didn't touch on is we decided to build our business around farming and door
Mm.
knocking in a specific area. And we've been door knocking and doing events in Bixby Knolls in Long Beach for about 2 years. And we've gotten, I think, 4 deals from that so far. And then we have a lot of connections that we've built up over time. And so we anticipate continuing to grow that and use that as a major lead source for us. It's a really fun thing for us to do, and we're lucky that we have each other to keep each other accountable and encourage. Because it can be scary to go door knocking. That's kind of like the number one thing people ask us is, how do you do that? Like,
Mhm.
what does that look like? And so we were able to get comfortable with it together. And then about a year ago, my husband got a job offer in Hawaii. That's where he's from. And so I called Heidi and was like, what would it look like if we could still work together? And so I have my license here, and Heidi said, great, I'll get my license too. And we just held our first event in our new farm in a town called Kailua on Oahu. And so we're doing just taking the same model that we had in Long Beach and repeating it in Kailua. And we just picked a market that is a higher price point than we've really ever focused on before. But our theory is, if we can get 3 or 4 deals in that farm, that will be a huge impact for us rather than doing 10 deals in a smaller price point area. And um, we feel comfortable moving up to that price point. And yeah, it's been cool to see how we've been able to it's just you just have to stay steady, really,
Mhm.
and trust the process and we know it works. And
Yeah.
so we don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah. And
I
by
think
the
that
way,
there's,
oh,
yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you're good. You go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and by the way, we had our first event in our farm on Wednesday, but we have closed 4 transactions here in Hawaii
That's true.
since Leslie moved here in February. So it's already happening for us here, and we're able to do it. What bi-coastal is our little team name now.
Hmm.
I love that. And there's so many things in there that I want to unpack that I just like we need to take a second and just kind of like unbox for everyone here on the call. One of the things that you both do really, really well is communicate and work well together. And it sounds like you kind of unlocked a new part of your business and really who you are, your identity as people, once you found kind of the two of you together and partnering. Like, what are some of the things that you guys do together that helps create this synergy? Like, how do you if you find someone that you connect with in real estate, like how would you go about partnering with them? Or like what would you say, or maybe some tips or things like that that you could work on together? Because that's a really amazing relationship the two of you have built. And you can definitely tell it's fueling your success in the last couple years.
I think the number one thing that we've always said makes the biggest difference is we have the same work ethic. And you can, as long as you have the same work ethic, and you're both kind, I think that you can make it through pretty much anything. And we just never have to compromise on how hard each other wants to work or what our goals are. We both have the same, or at least similar values too, of like, we want to be able to enjoy our time outside of work. We don't want our whole life to be work. And so we each take like a decent amount of vacation time. And that's one of the beauties of being a realtor is you get to make your schedule and you get to be flexible. We, I think we have built a trust also. It's important to be able to have somebody that you can trust to do what they've said they would do. Um, and that comes over time. And I think you could start small. Just start if you want to make your thing open houses, do an open house together and see
Mhm.
how it goes. Or if you want to do door knocking like us, that's really how it started for us is we were spending more time door knocking and we already had a good trusting relationship built up over time. And so it just was really natural for us.
Yeah. I yeah, I agree. The trust thing I think is huge, especially once Leslie, I mean, and the accountability. Like have this thing where I'm keeping myself accountable and I'm actually beating myself up over some things. Like the other day, for instance, my mom had to go to the doctor and I had to literally I was in motion to go door knock and I had to turn my car around and go pick up my mom. And all I could think about is I need a door knock. I need a door knock. I need a door knock. And Leslie can be that voice of reason. It's like, Heidi, it's okay today if you don't door knock. Go take care of your
Mm.
mom. You go do that. And so we have both accountabilities of like, yeah, I know I have to door knock and I have to be accountable to my partner because I know she's door knocking in Hawaii now. I mean, before we would meet and door knock. Now we're both separately door knocking in two different states. But I was like, oh, I can't let her door knock without me. And that is a good partnership. That means that we have the same values, that we have the same morals, and our work ethic is aligned. But we're completely different people. That's the other great thing about our partnership. We couldn't be more opposite. I am a bull in a china shop, and Leslie is very refined and dainty. And I just like it is so funny how different we are, but such a good balance, you know? But the work ethic is what is the glue. You know, it's like the brick and mortar and it's the cement in between us.
You know, it's so complementary. It's like the yin and yang. When I got to sit with the two of you and go through the KPA process with you, it was like you just found this like puzzle piece. It just kind of connected together with the two of you. And clearly the synergy is coming in your business. So if you're here on the call and you have a work buddy and you guys are really gelling and connecting, like lean into that, whatever that means to you. You don't need to go out and start a team tomorrow, right? But lean into those systems like you guys were talking about because look, you've built a system here in Southern California and you literally dropped it in Hawaii and are seeing the same success. So talk more about that. When you guys talk about farming and things, like talk more about that system.
Well, the system is it starts with consistency, you know, doing it every single day and tenacity and huge follow-up. I don't always consider myself the best at following up, but Leslie is. So like that helps, you know, keep the balance on the team. But we're consistent. I mean, that's another book I read when I right before we started with Keller Williams is by Stephen Ross. Doors open if you knock.
Mm,
And that book
good one.
inspired me. It talks about having a purpose and being consistent. And that's exactly what we've done. And even before we were a team, we did that. And then we had each other as accountability partners, like you said, even prior to us becoming a team. I still call her all the time. She'd still call me. We would meet at the office and check in with each other. And I noticed that a lot of the mentees at the coastal properties does that, and it really makes the difference. You know, we start as real estate agents, and you kind of feel alone because you're an independent contractor. You know, it doesn't feel like you're on. Some of us have joined teams, but you still feel kind of alone because you know, you're kind of in this by yourself, you think. I mean, that's how I thought. And here you have all these resources of people and it makes the huge difference. Like I am a self-motivator. I've always worked from home. I've always had a home office, but I've always had an accountability partner.
Mm,
Always, you know, even if they were in New York and I was in California, I lived in Seattle. My accountability partner was in California. It didn't matter where they were. I knew that every day I could check in with them. And it is every day. You know, there's also another, I always refer to all these podcasts and books, but there's a podcast called No Days Off. And basically is what it is. There's no days off. But you need to take a day off. We talked about, you know, the vacation piece of it, but you do the same thing every day. And if you miss a day, you got to make sure you don't miss the next day, you know? And so every day we make phone calls, no matter what. And texting for us is making phone calls too. So we text and our goal is to talk to 20 people. So if it takes 100 phone calls, if it takes 100 doors that you knock on, whatever it takes to, you know, touch 20 people. And then you celebrate and you find the wins in each of those days. That's a huge big deal too. Because I mean, we knocked on doors for 18 months before we got our first listing.
Mm,
We could have left a long time ago, and most people do, knowing when to stay and knowing when to leave. We knew we needed to stay. We just needed to be consistent and we needed to find those wins. And the wins come in different ways. Having a great conversation with somebody, they give you a nice lead, being invited into a house. Like this one man yelled at us when we knocked on his door. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, well, come on in and come see my house. So we just keep positive, and as Leslie said, stay kind. And before you know it, you get invited in. And that is the biggest part of our days because we didn't have anything coming out of the farm for 18 months. We just kept
mm,
farming and farming, watering, planting more seeds, putting more dirt on top, praying for rain, and yet nothing was happening. But we every single day found a win. And that's what your accountability partner can do for you. We also learned from another team to start the morning with gratitude. I
love
have to
that.
do that in the morning. I've always done it, but I did it in a personal level, and now I do it on the business level. I try to tell Leslie as much as possible that I'm grateful for her and I'm grateful that, we formed a team together. But having that gratitude list in the morning and writing in a journal and doing a little walking, meditating, it,
Mm.
it totally puts your head in the right set before you start the day. Because I wake up in the morning and I really don't want to do. Period. I don't want to do anything. I am not like huge wake up, go run, motivated type of person. But doing that meditation, doing the journaling, doing the gratitude list, and then getting up and doing that walk around. I live in Marina Pacifica, so I get to do a walk around the harbor. It just switches my mindset. And then before I know it, I'm like, okay, I'll go door knocking. And then I hit that first door. I talk to that first neighbor and I'm like calling her. Now I call her from like when she's in Hawaii and I'm door knocking in California. I'll call her. Oh my God, I just talked to the nicest lady. She said this. I went to a meeting a couple weeks ago outside of work. It was a personal thing. And I sat next to this lady and she goes, "Oh, you look so familiar." And I'm like, I don't know if I know you. And then she said, "You have a partner. You're a real estate agent. I have you on my refrigerator," because we had passed out magnets of like how measuring cups and a cup versus, whatever, a pint. And she's like, "I have you on my refrigerator. We have a flyer on my refrigerator too. We have this. Well, you did this. You did this. You did this food drive. You did this clothes drive." I mean, she was just going on and on and on. And then I saw her that she sent me, I took her number and then she sent me a text. She goes, "See, look it, I really do have you on my refrigerator." It was like I was famous or something. It was so cute. But I was like, okay, that was a big win. I called Leslie right away. I'm like, she has us on our refrigerator, and those are the wins. And then now, of course, we're getting the transactions. But when we didn't have the transactions, we needed those wins.
And it goes down to like the minute of like how do we do it? First we do our business plan every year. We just did one together since I won't be there to go to the one in person. And we figure out how many deals do we need to do this year? Okay, how many are going to come from our farm? How many are going to come from our sphere? How many are going to come from cold calling? And that's how we get all of our business is those three things. And so then we know how many events we need to do each year. We've decided that in California, we're going to do 3 events each year. And now, by now, we've done it for this our third year. We kind of know what we're going to do. So that makes it easier. So we're actually going through and we're picking a date for each thing. And then we know what our purpose is each time we're door knocking. Sometimes our purpose, like around the holidays, we pass out more like fun goodie bags or whatever marketing materials we might have, like magnets. And it's a little bit less purposeful, but it's to stay top of mind. It's a fun conversation. And then come like the new year, we'll start promoting our next event. And so we always know why we're going to be door knocking. And now that we're separated, especially, I mean, we did this before too, but I have found that it's even more necessary now that I'm going by myself. I have to set the goal that I'm going to talk to at least 10 people today. And
Mm,
then each time I talk to somebody, it's like, okay, I'm getting there. I'm getting it. It keeps me going because it's not. like to be honest, it's not as fun to door knock by yourself. It was fun when we were both on opposite sides of the street, and like when Heidi comes here and when I go to California, it's nice and it's refreshing to have each other there again because we can tell each other like, oh, I just talked to the nicest guy, or oh, that lady was kind of mean, or like whatever. You can kind of blow off steam with each
Unpack it.
other. And yeah, unpack it as you're going. You can let it let it go, or like it can fuel you. Um, and so, if you're doing cold calling, if you're doing open houses, whatever it is, if you can set little goals for that day, for me, that's been a huge deal. For Heidi, that's been a huge deal to keep it going and keep it fresh that day because we are doing the exact same thing pretty much every single day. A lot of what we do, a lot of lead generation, it's repeating it over and over, and that can be hard to stay consistent if you don't know why you're doing it, you don't know your purpose and your goals at the end of the year, and if you don't set little goals and celebrate the little wins. Like every time we close a deal, we try to go get ice cream together. And so a lot of the times
We
when
had ice cream
yeah,
yesterday.
we've had a few ice creams this trip to make up for us being apart. So we do like little things still to celebrate all of that stuff, even though it becomes more and more frequent now, which is great. We'd love it to continue being even more frequent. Um, you have to still be celebrating each win and be
Mhm.
proud of yourself
Yeah.
because the work we do is not easy, and a lot of it can be monotonous, but a lot of it can be it's a lot of problem solving when you're in a transaction, and it's important to look back and be really proud of yourself for the work that you've put in now to see the results later.
Yeah. And we also, everything's measurable, right? So for our goals, that is. And so, like Leslie said, it's not just the big goal that we have all the small goals as well. Like even on Wednesday, we were doing the food drive. We were like, okay, we just need three more people to show up and bring food. And then we hit our goal. Like we had a goal even for our food drive. But we also do a touch base every week. So every Monday we do a full meeting, like an hour that we talk about everything that's gone on the week before, what we need to do this week, what's on what's on the agenda for the week, what our goals are for the week. And then every month we do a regroup as well. So even though we talk every day, we still have a set meeting on Mondays and we have a monthly, recap on a Monday as well during that meeting. So we make sure that we're measuring everything and yeah, and daily too. Sometimes in the morning we'll touch base and say, okay, my goal for today is, so we're very goal orientated and I just can't stress enough finding the wins. Sometimes what do they say? Hank Aaron, hit what 700 home runs, but he struck out 1,400 times, and so sometimes I'll look at it as no means next. For every door that we don't get, someone to answer, or someone's not nice, I'm like, no means next. That's the, that I used to be in sales in a different arena and we would chicken scratch every no because we knew that we were getting closer to a yes. For
Mhm.
our thing was for every 10 no's, we'll get a yes. And sure enough, right around that point, we would get a yes because we would go out and recruit and we'd have to bring them back to the counter. And so we would get a lot of no's, but we'd get that yes. And it just takes one yes, right? It just took that one time that we sold the property in Bixby Knolls, and now, everyone knows us and our business has taken off there. So don't leave before the miracle, as I keep saying.
It's about the commitment to self-mastery from what I hear from the stories, because the both of you shared, like, okay, well, I knew I needed to change my mindset, or I knew this is what I needed to do to get there. I listened to a podcast, I read a book. Like that commitment to saying, what is it that I need to do to get myself in the right headspace is a key part to being a producer or to unlocking that level of I hate to like use enlightenment, but really that's what it becomes because you see these people especially a top producer that will start, their production will start going up. And as soon as they start putting more time into committing to being the best version of them, you see this like almost placidness of like using the words that you said, where you said, I'm going to talk to 10 people versus I have to talk to 10 people or I
Mm,
need to talk to 10 people. It's
yeah.
like those things are all bringing us to this level of like this is just this, I hate to call it like a Buddha thing, but it's almost like we get to this point where you guys unlock who you are as a person and know what you need to do to get yourself to that space.
It's true. We've also had to quit some things. We've had to learn, like that's what I learned in the dip is that, what it's not real estate I need to quit, but I need to quit some of these things. And some of it is
Mm,
bad behavior, wasting time, doing little things that are not making a difference to my business or to the sale that is this and asking myself, is this really important? Is this really what I need to be doing today? And also, people, quit
mm,
clients. We last like fall season, we both had a client that we had both brought in, and they both were just energy vampires,
Yeah.
just sucking up our time and our energy. And we were spinning, they were spinning, and we started spinning with them. It was just like this, tornado we got caught up in. And we were both exhausted. And we at the same time said, we need to let them go. And,
mm,
we did. We let both of them go. And within 1 week, we got 4 new clients. Like the universe was like, you just let go. Let go of what does not serve you well. Like you said, it is kind of a Buddha thing for us. Let go of what does not serve you well, and more will come. When one door closes, another door opens, right? And it empowered us to be able to go, okay, we don't need that. We felt a little bit desperate, like we need these sales, we need this person who's running us around, showing them houses, and they're not going to buy, they're not going to list. They just need a friend. And
yeah.
that's not something we can do. I mean, we can be their friend, but anyways. So we've learned to, quit the things that are not making a difference to our business,
Yeah.
seeing what really works. But that doesn't mean you don't give them a chance for a little while and learn from it. We were talking about something that Leslie had done in the beginning of her career. And she was like, I really wasted my time. I'm like, no, you really did not waste your time. You learned from it. Like that is the other thing is I do believe we do make mistakes, but mistakes are really something that I do over and over again. If I do something and I've learned from it, it's a lesson. It's not really a mistake. And so I really try to enforce that in my own life. I mentor women outside of real estate. And that's what we talk about, it's a lesson. And if we can learn from it, it's a great lesson, right?
Hmm. It's that perspective shift. Like you have to have that. Otherwise, you're so right. You will get beaten down, right? If you hold on to
Yep.
every no, if you hold on to every transaction lost or every client you have to let go, it's a weight and a burden that follows you around like a giant hump on your back, right? It's just
Yep.
like not going away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, ladies, I could talk to you for like an hour. This always
Oh.
goes by so fast. But I know that you guys have a lot of wealth and knowledge and things like that. Anything else that you want to talk about or share with the group, or you feel is like something that you really want to make sure they need to hear today?
I think like the number one thing for me is you have to choose at the end of the day things that you know that you'll do. So
Mm,
if you know you won't door knock, then don't choose it. If you know that you will be okay doing open houses every week, that's what you should go with. It's not like you need to have a passion for it necessarily. We find things that we enjoy about door knocking. We like to be outside and meet people. And it works for us. We tried it and it works for us. We don't like to do open houses. I would not do an open house every weekend. I just wouldn't. And so I didn't choose that. And it just kind of comes down to simple choices like that too. Like know yourself and know what you can commit to and then commit to it.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. Commit to it and be consistent with it. And the tenacity, people use that. to describe us, which I would have never just used that word to describe myself. But people use that. They say that we're consistent, we're tenacious, and passion. When you do pick that lane, like I am passionate about door knocking, I don't think it's for everybody, but it is definitely for us. And people are just like, what? You door knock? And I'm like, yes. And it makes my day. Like I leave after door knocking and I'm on high. And I'm just like, I'm so glad I went. And every morning when I start to go, I sometimes think, I don't want to do this today. I don't bring my 100% game with me. And by the third door, I'm like, okay, I can do this. And when I'm done, I'm like, that just made my day. It's the best part of my day. So try to be consistent. And like Leslie said, if you're going to do open houses, just keep doing them. Just keep doing them. And you don't have to do them only on the weekends. You can do them during the week, but being consistently doing them, at least doing 2 to 3 a week, that's your number's going to hit, your number's going to hit. And at the end of the day, have that accountability partner somehow, some way. I don't care if it's your mom. Just have someone that you can call every day and talk to about the business and the good, as well as unloading sometimes, unpacking some things that you need to unpack.
Mhm.
And we can be that too. Call us anytime.
The two of you just radiate genuineness and leadership. So I just want to thank you very much for sharing your business. A lot of people there in the call. I love it. Yeah, people are typing in the chat. You guys keep up the good fight. Thank you again for being leaders within our offices. You guys, if you heard anything here on the call that you yourself need to unpack, if you're thinking it's time to dive into another lead gen, or need to find an accountability partner or something like that, like please reach out to us. We are here to help you. We can help you naturally unpack these things and figure out the best path. But besides that, go out, have a great weekend. Let's go do some open houses. Let's go do some door knocking. Even don't let the rain stop you. Don't let the
No.
rain stop you.
Through rain or snow or 90-degree weather, make it happen.
Thank you guys all. Have a wonderful Friday. Thanks for joining me and see you all very soon.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having
Thank
us, Hallie.
you.
Bye,
Thank
you
you, my Hawaii
guys.
Thank you.
girls.
Bye, you
Thank
guys.
you.
Aloha.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Aloha. That's bye, guys.
Bye.